Is it time to leave New York and California? Now, I've got a few updates on both that may infuriate residents in the area. Who am I kidding though? I'm guessing that some of you guys might become straight pissed off when you hear about all of this, so make sure you stay until the end.
You don't have to drive far to see a homeless encampment near a street or highway in California. It's an ongoing issue that impacts not just the unhoused, but the communities where they stay. This week, Governor Newsom announced the state is setting aside $299 million to move people out of encampments and into housing. It's part of a new round of encampment resolution funding, the fund created in 2021.
This entire program is about resolutions. It's about actually addressing the underlying issue.
Over the past 2 years, Caltrans has cleared more than 5,000 encampments around the state, according to the governor's office. He says this money will help an estimated 10,000 people experiencing homelessness. Of the nearly $300 million, half of the funding will go to Caltrans to specifically clear encampments on highways and bike paths.
It's not safe for people experiencing homelessness to shelter on the state right-of-way. It's a safety risk for them, for the infrastructure, for our staff, for first responders, and potentially for the traveling public. And that's why we remove encampments and people experiencing homelessness.
The other half of the funding from this round will go to cities and counties.
I know that this is a touchy subject, and to be honest, there are many different reasons as to how someone can become homeless, okay? But that's not the debate here. The main talking point is that we need to confirm if this is fair for those people in California. You see, this is taxpayer money, no question about it. I mean, where else would they get this money from, right? So a simple yes or no. Is this plan to use up almost $300 million of taxpayer money fair for the people that live in California? Comment down below, and while you guys are at it, make sure to drop a like for the video and consider subscribing to the channel. I do my best to give you guys timely and informative updates 24/7. Appreciate that, guys. All right, so getting back here, some critics of Newsom, Governor Gavin Newsom, think that he's, I don't know, how do I say it, a hypocrite? You see, they cleaned up San Francisco for Chinese President Xi Jinping, focusing solely on showing them what San Francisco used to look like, and alleging that Newsom is using more money on the homeless compared to students. Now, I'm not taking sides here, so, if there's somebody from California in the community, I would definitely appreciate it if you guys could confirm or deny any of these statements. From California, though, let's go ahead and hop on over to New York, where, much like California, people are rushing to get away from it. Why? Well, things seem to be getting worse by the day. But if you asked AOC, though, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she would say that New York was way too expensive for the working class, although she doesn't seem to be very self-aware, as it looks like the policies that she's been pushing for herself have actually pushed out even more people out of New York. Like, if it was too expensive to stay in one city or one state and you had the option to move to another area where you could possibly save money and not be burdened with policies that attack your wages, would you move? Her solution is simple. I think she even wore it in a dress, right? Tax the rich. Now, the question is, the rich are part of the people that are moving out because New York just doesn't seem like New York anymore. It's like it's become a shell of its former self. And to be fair, it's an accurate description of our country right now. But hear me out though, and this is just me thinking out loud again. What if, and this is a huge what if the representatives and those in Congress, the Senate, all these government officials try to live off of minimum wage? I mean, what do you think would happen? If they're of age to receive Social Security, how about they receive those instead of their wages right now? Do you think that they would switch up real quick? Or do you think that they would resign and let somebody else handle the job? Now, shifting gears here, both Governor Gavin Newsom and AOC are advocates of clean energy, especially since they want to do their best for climate change, They both put forth policies that are, I don't know, a little bit controversial, if you will. I mean, California, they want to ban a lot of gas-powered anything, even though their power grid can't even handle too much more of what they already got. And do any of them think that EVs are affordable, that Americans are just lining up to get the new models? I mean, just look at Tesla. They've done multiple price cuts this year? They've really pissed off a lot of new buyers since they don't even announce some of these cuts in advance, leaving some buyers with and I'm talking a lot of buyers' remorse. Now, by the time I release this video, Tesla's probably already received the coveted, can I call it that? The coveted, much-awaited Cybertruck. Any of you guys waiting on that new Cybertruck? I know for a fact that some customers of Tesla have been waiting for 4 years for the Cybertruck, and well, can you really call it a truck? I'm not really sure how you would haul anything on it, but besides that, the waiting list for the new EV is supposedly at 2 million people, and I'm just curious to see how well it's actually going to do when it comes out. Maybe it does well, maybe it bombs, who knows? What I do know is that the president had very ambitious goals for EVs, and now, well, Now, car makers they're realizing that these goals were not as attainable as they once thought. In fact, over 3,000 dealers, count them, 3,000 car dealers, they wrote to the White House and they said that they need to slow down on regulations that mandate battery electric vehicle production and distribution. In this letter, and it's actually true, they say that consumer acceptance is required. I mean, ain't that the truth, right? These dealerships are now dealing with an overstock of electric vehicles, and customers, well, they're not exactly keen on getting on board with all these electric vehicles. People ain't buying them, not at the rate that they need to sell them. So just for context, in 2022, EVs made up less than 1% of all vehicle registrations here in our country. Ford CEO even went as far as to say that these cars, these trucks, they're not meant for people who travel long distances. And well, that's probably going to be a deal breaker for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? But what do you think? Are you looking to buy an EV anytime soon? And I'm guessing that there's not going to be a whole lot of comments that say yes, because there's a new survey from Bloomberg now showing that Americans expect prices will go up at an annual rate of 4.5% over 2024, up from the expectation before, which was 4.4%. Now you might be saying, Ron, what's the big deal, right? It's like 0.1%, right? And sure, the expectation didn't grow by much, but the sentiment still says that the prices are expected to go up, even though we're hearing all this stuff, all this good news about the economy. Which means, and I really hope that you guys are ready for this, which means that even more American families are realizing that everything is becoming more expensive. Meanwhile, their wages remain the same. You see what I'm trying to say here? This economic turmoil that we're seeing, it's now affecting more people. And with that, it's going to become even harder to deny just how far we've sunk. And let me tell you guys, we've sunk quite a bit in recent years. I mean, just to really drive the point home here, the recent sales that we had, those record-breaking numbers for Black Friday and all, well, $940 million of that was on those buy now, pay later schemes. You know, Sezzle, PayPal, and other sorts of buy now, pay later lending platforms.
The holiday shopping season is now in full swing, and it's off to a somewhat bumpy start, with Black Friday sales coming in lower than expected. But one clear winner, buy now, pay later. According to Adobe Analytics, shoppers will fund more than $780 million worth of purchases with BNPL today alone. That's a 19% jump from last year, and total buy now, pay later sales for the month are expected to top $9 billion. What can you tell us about Cyber Monday so far?
Well, just like you mentioned, I mean, we were quite shocked to see the fantastic performance of Buy Now Pay Later. We actually grew 30%. And I think in general, the numbers we found from Adobe was that we saw a 7.5% increase. So it just shows how much market share Buy Now Pay Later and Klarna is gaining in the market. I think it's both share of checkout, it's more merchants offering it, and more consumers choosing it in general. So very positive in general, but it is a more soft performance among merchants in general. And I think to some degree, even the numbers that we saw on Black Friday, I mean, I have seldom seen so good offers and discounts. So that's good for consumers. I'm not entirely sure to what degree that number was an extent of merchants being very, very pushy and trying to get stock out and offering some very aggressive discounting.
But as we always do, I want to go ahead and leave the last word to you guys. What are your thoughts on all this? Make sure you guys share them in the comment section down below. And before I go, I just want to thank you guys for your time. Thanks for liking the video. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, link in the description down below, and I'll see you on the next one.